Good afternoon to anyone who watches this today. We are back for another episode of Beyond the Gates. I'm not gonna lie, I almost did not do this today because I am tired and I don't know if I can make it through a boring episode. So I hope they give me something. I do think we have a Leslie and Darlene confrontation today. Hopefully it's good. As usual, I will say that my Paramount Plus stream is usually a minute behind anybody watching on CBS, and I will be typing and taking notes. Hello, Z Hicks. Welcome. You'll probably be a little ahead of me on CBS. Mine is beginning with Eva. And of course, her mama in her place. Yep, Z Hicks, that's what we're starting with today. For better or for worse. Kaiwan says Leslie got the Freddy Krueger style, just appearing in a room. Oh, there's Darlene. I still can't believe Jacob is getting something for his not so great undercover skills. Kaiwan says, I like Darlene because she doesn't play those games. I don't like her. Hello, Exotic Butterfly. Welcome back. Z Hicks says, Jacob is not undercover material. Nightmares. I agree. Oh, look. Haley with her poison in her breasts. And Bill still won't think anything is weird with his not so loving wife. Kaiwan says he didn't even do his duty to stay incognito. You're not able to talk to anybody. You're not allowed to talk to reporters or your wife. I agree. Jacob was not great undercover. Hello, Bookcella. Welcome back. We've still yet to get a follow up with Smitty for being such a big part of the Impaler. Lord, hope we don't get a cat podcast storyline. Hello, DGF. Welcome. I guess we are forgetting that Naomi and Jacob had marriage problems before he went under investigation. No, Marcel should be cutting jokes today with that joke of an investigation. Book Chalice says, now Kat wants a podcast. Her first episode will be about Leslie and Eva. Yeah, it probably will be. But that's never a good soap opera viewing. I remember when Young and the Restless, quite a few years back, tried to give Billy a podcast. Talk about boring. Hello, Wanda Dixon. Welcome. Kaiwan, I agree that Kat is pretty good at detective. I'd rather her just become a detective than do a podcast about it. Book Child says, I wouldn't mind Kat being a private investigator. She's better at the job than Jacob. I agree with that. Even though Jacob's being awarded today. What's up, Hemi? Welcome. Glad you're watching for a little bit. Let's see how long you last, Hemi. Book Chalice says, Jacob receiving an award is funny considering an innocent man died and the Impaler case is still unsolved. Yeah, it doesn't really make great sense. What's up, Devin? Welcome back. Are you at work? Book Child, do you think we'll have any actual storyline movement today? Mine either. Not seeing this lineup. It's kind of more of the same. That's cool, Devin. How's your baseball team doing? Have fun being away, Bookchella. Devin 6-0. That's great. How many games do y'all play? I don't know if any of y'all watch Days of Our Lives, but Leslie's starting to remind me of Dr. Rolf, and I don't know if that's a good thing. Hemi said, Isaiah and his mom, I'm already interested in this combo. I don't mind it, but we are stuck with a lot of the same old shit today, I think. Well, that's cool that you're coaching your little brother. Yes, Devin. What else is new? It is off to a boring start. Although next week does look promising from everything I've seen or read. It's just not great that we have to get through this week first to get there. Taiwan says they got to give Leslie something to do other than owning this hospital. They got to give her a company or something. They got to give her just a storyline, period. Jacob's right. At least someone is. That's a good idea, Devin. Give Leslie her Strauss finally, if they're even building it again. I mean, Elon's really switched up on his son for someone who didn't think Jacob could get the job done. Jacob struggles to get the job done, and now it's just sunshine and rainbows. Kimi says Marcel had to get up and give his 2 cents. Who was talking to him? Yeah, even Marcel kissing some ass today with Jacob. Kaiwan says, I guess you got to encourage your son sometimes, even if he's the most horrible detective in all of Washington, D.C. I guess. Hello, Bobby Wobby. Welcome back. I don't know if Book Child's still here. Oh, this is gonna be a rough. This is gonna be a rough episode, everybody. I don't know who was here at the beginning, but I almost didn't do a watch along today because I am tired. So getting through a boring episode. I don't know if my mind's right for it. Bobby, did you watch One Life to Live in the 90s? I think yesterday you said you watched in the 80s. Hello, Dee Dee. Derek will be on Young and the Restless. I haven't saw anything about that. If it's even real, I never trust anything on YouTube. Apparently, Bill's always been dumb when it comes to his wives. Yeah, Kai Wanted is hard to find 80s on YouTube. Yeah, DGF, you said One Life was your favorite, if I recall. I looked it up, Didi. I don't think Derek's gonna be on Young and the Restless. Well, Isaiah really standing on business today. Let's see. Devin's daily poll. Who's the next couple to have sex in an episode? A. Danny and Andre. B. Tyrell and Jessica. C. Vernon and Anita. D. Haley and Bill. E. Nicole and one of her guys. I mean, I'm going to go E. Nicole being a hoe. Z. Hicks. Bill's just blind. Hemi asks, what is the big deal about Isaiah and Eva's relationship? Darlene just doesn't think anyone is good enough for her sons. As we saw in the flashback, not even Naomi was good enough at first. I'm very confused why Smitty is in this scene and, not getting his aftermath for his investigation with the Impaler stuff. DGF says, this is so stupid. Copying a Phil. What have Haley and Bill not done in the office since their harassment issue? I agree. Bill should think it's weird. Dee Dee says, Leslie is unbelievable and Eva falls for it all the time. Isaiah standing up, but not Eva. Well, Eva never can stand up to her mama, or she will for a day. And then the next day, it's like it never happened. And I don't know if that's the writing or if that's like inconsistency in the day-to-day outlines of the episodes. Cassie is tired of the same conversation between Eva and Leslie. Agreed. Hemi said, what happened to Smitty's big Impaler story? He's just not going to submit the story for publishing. That's what I'm saying. We haven't heard anything about Smitty after we had to see him in his hoodies in the alley acting like he wasn't standing out like a sore thumb. Bobby says it's Joey's storyline now. It does seem that way, which is why it has to be his sister who's the Impaler. Kaiwan says the same conversation gets repeated, and Leslie didn't even do anything wrong all that much. I can understand if Leslie was doing something really evil right now. I mean, she did do attempted murder at the beginning, which is why people still be commenting on some of my videos. When is Leslie going to be brought to justice? At this rate, maybe never. Dee Dee says, I think the writers are preparing us for the split of their marriage. Well, I'm all for it because Naomi doesn't show love to Jacob. I would love for them to split up Jacob and Naomi. Z Hicks says, all of a sudden, Smitty is unconcerned in the Impaler story, unrealistic. Seems that way. DGF was primarily an ABC viewer. I have faint memories of Ryan's Hope and The Edge of Night. I love Santa Barbara, though, and Deb with other networks. I'm watching Santa Barbara on Patreon, although I've seen this particular storyline that I'm watching before, the Carnation Killer. Those 80s soaps love their serial killers, which I mean, I think there was a lot of serial killers in the 80s as it is, so I can see why. Dee Dee says, yes, people seem to forget all of Leslie's actions. Bobby says, we should be seeing Ren and Leah being interrogated under the bright lights like on Menace to Society. We should have at least seen Leah be brought to justice. Well, it seems like this show might be pulling a Santa Barbara next week. You know, Santa Barbara had their big earthquake. Well, I think this show's about to have their own natural disaster. Maybe kill off some dead weight like Tomas, fingers crossed. Kimi says Jacob should leave Naomi and get with June. Now that would be a story. James says BTG is making positive progress. He's like the positivity in these comments these days. I'm glad someone can be, because it can't be me. Yes, Tomas. I mean, yes, Miss Blue. Kill off Tomas, please. If we're gonna do a disaster, someone's got to die. Oh, there's too much Tomas love in the chat. I don't like it. Barbara Gregg says the hat that Cat is wearing today looks like the one that the toy soldiers wear during the Rockettes Christmas show in NYC. I like her hat. Barbara, I don't know where June is, but I'd rather watch her have a storyline than half the people on today. I mean, what's Cat going to investigate? Lynette's disappearance. We're going to stretch that out for a month so Cat could play detective. Bobby Wobby says, I seen a 1995 video of a tornado and all my children, and it was very entertaining. I have seen that too. It was entertaining. DGF says, I loved how Santa Barbara allowed Marcy Walker to be the beautiful Eden because she was as homely as can be as Liza on All My Children. James says June is Dr. Doug's woman once he's back in the flesh. Dr. Doug and June should double date with Tomas and Kat. You think Doug's going to come back in the flesh and not just be a vision or a ghost? Bobby says Liza wasn't shit. I haven't seen enough of Liza and All My Children, so I wouldn't know. Well, at least Marcel knows that Jacob is not the world's greatest detective. Z Hicks says Hawthorne party at the station. That's where they have to have the award ceremony for set purposes. DGF says it's time for the percolator. This episode has me yawning. More coffee. I know I needed something today to do this video that I didn't have. Bobby Wobby says she was a true villain to Jenny and Jesse. That being Liza, I assume. James says today's episode is good. I give it an 8 out of 10. Well, I'll be Bret Hart and give it a 4 out of 10. Z Hicks says Isaiah's mom jealous of Eva. That is how Darlene acts, which is why I don't like her very much. Bobby asks, where's Luke Hawthorne at? Was he even at Jacob's wedding? I guess he's going to be the lost off-screen Hawthorne brother. Honestly, I don't know if we need another Hawthorne yet. Yeah, Barbara Gregg, I saw that. I enjoyed that interview with Tamara. It was a good interview, and I didn't realize she had that many acting credentials either. DGF, is this a question for me? I ain't that young, but when I was a wee little child in the early '90s, I used to come home from school, and my grandma would be watching Days of Our Lives and Young and the Restless. That would come on at the same time. She would have old TV that she had to go to the TV and change the channel to. So during commercials, she would flip between Young and the Restless and Days of Our Lives. And then I saw Carly buried alive on Days of Our Lives, and I was hooked. What's up, Phoenix Rising? Welcome. Bobby Wobby. Liza came back eventually, right? In the 90s. Did I make that up? I've seen 90s All My Children, some of it. James says, okay, Brett, there's some good things happening today. I know it's not because of something. Leslie and Darlene coming up and throwing down. Let's get it. I am enjoying Darlene and the Eva stuff today, but that's about it. Yes, Phoenix, it's another slow day. DGF, was your mom a CBS soap person? You said you were an ABC soap person. Bookchild, you miss some tension between Darlene and Eva and Isaiah. I mean, I agree, Bobby, that we have to discuss other soaps while watching this. Some days are just like that. DGF says my mother was ABC, then Victor Newman showed up. He must have been a hot commodity because everyone loves them some Victor Newman, including my grandmother. But I was always Team Jack. Here go Danny after reading Bill for Filth the other day. Well, at least Smitty showed up, I guess. Bookchild says my mom loves YNR and all my children. Barbara Gregg says Tamara Tooney made her Broadway debut alongside Alina Horn in 1981. Wow, DGF, that's wild. She'll be 97 and still working that remote. That's pretty awesome. Phoenix Rising says Victor was handsome, powerful, extra masculine, and had a voice that made women swoon. Still does, I guess. Jack brought the drama. He was always caught up in the some mess. I love them both. That's fair. Phoenix says, I missed the old YNR and stopped watching in the late 90s. It did take a hit in the late 90s and then really took a hit in the mid 2000s. Book Chalice says, and the Edge of Night. She still mourns that show. I've seen, there's a lot of Edge of Night episodes on YouTube that I watched years ago now at this point. That was definitely a different kind of soap opera. It was like what, crime? All about crime. Taiwan says my aunt and daddy loved all the NBC soaps or CBS. Yeah, Kathy, that's why we're talking about old soap operas. Z Hicks says Haley declined the invitation to Jacob's party. Bill finds out and goes off on wifey. Danny is pissed now. He really doesn't do anything for the Bill and Haley storyline, though. I mean, I will say that I have enjoyed the Darlene stuff today, but it does feel like another inconsequential episode. Book Channel says Darlene is another useless character. I don't hate her as a concept for a character. I don't like her as a character because I think she's one of those weird moms. But I get the need for her, I guess. I mean, maybe K1. They do love their musical guests. DGF says it looks like Jacob's mom lost about 20 pounds since she's been away, and the costume designer has tightened up Isaiah's wardrobe. Barbara Gregg says Tamara also said that Anita's breast cancer storyline touched and motivated many individuals to be proactive with their health care. Yeah, I think that's what they were going for at least. And I do think Tamara Tooney did a great job with that story. Phoenix says, we need to see more Elon and Darlene. Why aren't we seeing their date nights? Also, what happened to Diego? Diego disappeared long ago, I feel like. I'd be down to see more Elon, even if that means Elon and Darlene. Me too, Jacob. I want to get out of this episode and get a drink. Book Chalice says she pops in and out. They haven't developed the story between Eva, Isaiah, and Darlene. A waste of time. They do like to have too many characters, I feel, that they don't get to develop everything that they could. Barbara says Tamara said she felt the writers were doing a great job with the storylines. Yay, us. Z Hicks says where Ashley, hopefully somewhere preparing to die next week when there's a natural disaster. Well, here goes our Darlene and Leslie confrontation. Book Chalice says this is Jacob's award ceremony. This show has no budget left. I think they're going to be using their budget next week. Phoenix says Beyond the Gates is turning fans into alcoholics. Listen, Danny walked being an alcoholic so that we could run. DGF says I could have added some Baileys to this coffee. You probably should have. Miss Blue says Jacob and Smitty never ever need to go undercover again. Please and thank you. I agree. Please. This really would hit harder if, Leslie had a real compelling reason for being the antagonist that she is these days. Okay, why do you think there's a history between Darlene and who? Marcel's wife, ex-wife. DGF asks, what happened to Smitty's expose? He must have done it without us getting to hear anything good about it, even though they made us suffer through that Impaler storyline and all that undercover work. No follow-up for Smitty. Phoenix says, "You are cold, but I agree. Ashley needs to go. I don't think they'll kill off Ashley. But if they're going to have some big event, it better be Tomas then, at the very least." DGF says, "Leslie's entrance did make me laugh to irk Darlene." I don't mind Leslie sometimes, but they could just do a better job of giving her character the reason why she does the things that she does, or just a storyline in general. Bobby Wobby says, "Is the cake going in someone's face?" Maybe. That could be our ending for today's episode. Book Child says, "I need Leslie broke and desperate again." Yeah, they should have never given her money. What a stupid decision that was. DGF says, "Danny looks very cute." She usually does. Dee Dee says, "We need someone to not tolerate Leslie. I like the way Derek did it." I guess that is Darlene's job. Cassie says, "I want my time back for watching this snooze of an episode." I don't blame you. Z Higgs says, "Jacob losing his mind about Derek illusions, have mood swings. Maybe he'll become an alcoholic too, like the rest of us." Taiwan, you think Marcel and Darlene should have like a romantic history? I wouldn't hate it. It gives us some drama. DGF says, "Please like the smash button. Listen to DGF. Please and thank you." Dee says, "The writers have their favorite characters. Ashley and Leslie are two of those people. They are two of those people." James says, "Friends, the Leslie Darlene exchange just made this episode a 10 out of 10 for me. On my word, as the rascally resident gentleman, this episode is one of the best we've seen in a while." James, are you high? You smoking the good stuff today? Did Devin give you something? Because I mean, 2 weeks ago we had those solid episodes. DGF says Tomas is supposed to be spying on that woman at the firm and reporting back to Bill. What happened to that? I think Bill took him off the case now. Hello, Francine Patrick, who asks, "Why is Leslie not in jail where she belongs?" I don't know. Bookchild wants to know what James is watching. Maybe he has on an old One Life to Live episode, actually. Here you go, Haley poisoning. Always right in public. Barbara Gregg is missing her alley. That's what she does, Z Hicks. Well, they're talking about Smitty's stories. I don't know why Eva lets Leslie talk to anybody. Also, we need to kill off Tomas so that we could have this Cat and Jacob affair. Didi, I don't know where Andre is. He has been missing a lot lately. Well, that was our Tuesday episode. Bobby Wobby is sick of them drops. They do overdo that. Wanda Dixon says, "Oh boy, we are back on the poison story." We are, but it needs to move. Bookchild says Smitty's story is DOA. The Impaler is still out there to bore us another day. That's true. How could you write these stories when it could give the Impaler away? Bobby Wobby says her heart broke. You're talking about Darlene, I'm assuming. Z Hicks says Leslie pushing Darlene's button. Great cliffhanger. James says Leslie is on point today. Kaiwan says she doesn't understand her son likes. I did like the high sun too, DGF. Bookchild says agree. Cat and Jacob actually have chemistry. James says Beyond the Gates is on the comeback trail, a 10 out of 10 day. Maybe knock off a good 5-6 points off of that. Didi says so Jacob can be open with Cat, but not his wife, which is why maybe they should have an affair. So let's spin Tomas on out of here next week. DGF says Naomi should have conceived during one of their secret trysts. That would have been a compelling storyline. I thought that's where they were going. Didi says the writers will always make Leslie look better. Well, they make her look like an ass too. All right, that's it for today. I will be back with a review later. I will try to be back tomorrow for a watch long. Hopefully, I'm not as tired as today. No, Miss Blue, we do not need to keep Tomas. We got to send his ass on out of here. And on that note, I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you for joining me as usual.